Hey, welcome to the channel today. I'm Lisa with Good to Great Cooking. If you are new to this channel and you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button below so that you can become a member of this community and you will get notifications when a new video has dropped, and you'll get all of the shorts and things like that I share periodically. Today we are going to be making white chicken chili using a slow cooker. A slow cooker is one of the kitchen essentials that I believe every home cook should have. It is great for allowing you to have dinner getting prepared, and you can go off and do some other things. Things that take a long time to get done. There's no need for you to be in the kitchen constantly tending to it. You can put it in a slow cooker and be on your way. So first thing, I'm going to talk to you about slow cookers and the features of them. So here is my slow cooker. This is one of the larger size ones. They come in sizes even bigger than this, and they come in some small sizes too, okay? So most slow cookers have a pot, the insert that comes out, okay, which is where your food is, where your food goes. The inside here, this is just the cooking vessel. When it's empty, it's very, very light. And mine has handles on both sides. Now, you'll see some slow cookers that have all kinds of dirt and grime in here after years of use. I've had this one for about 3 years, and as you can see, it's relatively clean in there. The tip to that, or the trick to that, is if you spill anything inside your slow cooker when you are making a meal, immediately get it cleaned out. As soon as it sits, you're not going to be able to get that stain out, and it's gonna start looking pretty nasty in there, okay? This one has the locking lid, okay? So this is the lid to the slow cooker, and it has these 2 locks on the side, okay? Very important about these locks. Do not engage the locks when you are cooking. These locks are for when you transport. Like if you're taking this to a potluck or you're taking this to a friend's house, you can put the lock on. That will avoid you having spilled food inside your car if you hit a bump or something like that, and it's splashing, it's in the back of your car. That's what the lock is for. It is not for when you are actively cooking. When food is inside this vessel and it is cooking and it has reached a high temperature, it needs to be able to let out steam. So if you have ever, noticed if you've got a pot of, say, beans or greens or something like that on the stove and it's reached its boiling point, you might hear the lid kind of rattle a little bit. That is supposed to happen. Your food needs to release steam. If it doesn't get to release that steam, if you've got these locked like this and it can't release any steam at all, you could cause an explosion in your kitchen. This glass lid can explode, and then you will have not only a big mess, but a dangerous mess. If anybody is near it, they could be scalded with hot liquid. So whenever you are cooking, make sure that your locks, if you have them on your slow cooker, they are not locked, okay? Mine is pretty simple. I have seen some that look like, they look like dashboards up here with all of the buttons and the lights and all of that. Mine is pretty simple. You can manually set the program, or they have some pre-selected options that you could use as well. I always just manually set mine, and I tell it what temperature I want it to be and how long I want it to cook. My slow cooker automatically, once the time is out for cooking, it goes to warm. So it'll just keep my food warm until I get back to the slow cooker. This is really great for people who use their slow cookers when they are not at home. So some people will set their slow cooker in the morning for a meal that they want to have that evening when they get off work. So it's great. Once the timer runs out for the cook time, it'll just keep it warm, and then it's warm and ready for you when you get home. Okay? So now that we've learned all about the slow cooker and its features and how super convenient it is, let's get started making some chili. Our ingredients for this dish are 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken breast. You could use thighs if you prefer. I always use breast for this recipe. I just like the way it turns out a little bit better. And then I've got a can of pinto beans. You could also sub black beans. This is a personal preference. I prefer pinto beans. This is 10 ounces of frozen corn. You could, of course, use fresh, but fresh corn is not in season at the time of recording this. This is a 10-ounce can of diced tomato with green chili, 1 ounce of dried ranch seasoning, an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. It's not in the shot very well, but an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. And then the seasonings that I want to use are chili seasoning, ground cumin, chili powder, and I use a chili powder with a little bit of spice in it. If you prefer a milder chili powder, then by all means do what you prefer. And then, of course, just salt and ground black pepper. Okay, I am going to show you the chicken because it needs a little bit of a trim. I buy the ones from Costco that already are really pretty cleaned up, but every once in a while they'll have a little bit of excess fat on them, and so in that case I want to trim them up just a bit. But you want to leave some fat because, as we know, fat is flavor, and that is going to make your dish even better. And I put on gloves whenever I'm dealing with raw meat so that I can just take the gloves off and I can go on about my business. I already wash my hands like, I don't know, half a dozen times per recipe, and I just am trying to save time by not having to do that again here. So I am going to take these kitchen shears and just pull up like these big pieces of fat. Oh, that one came off without even cutting. Okay, so I'm going to pull up big pieces of fat. Oh, look at that. They're making my job super easy today. But like this, you just want to get in there and give that a little snip so that it comes off. Okay. Those small things of fat that you see like right in here, don't even worry about that. That's going to melt away and it will just become a part of the broth to this dish, and it'll be super yummy. I do want to get this off though. Okay. And just so that you guys know, I am not just throwing chicken fat on my floor. I've got a little trash can here beside me. That is a tip that I picked up from Rachel Ray years ago, is the garbage bowl. Have a vessel near you where you can dispose of things and get them out of your way quickly. A clean cook is a great cook, okay? You don't want to have stuff just sitting all around in your way, and also you don't want to cross-contaminate any of your food. Okay, so these look pretty clean, as you can see. So I want to start with just salt and pepper, okay? And I use salt, I use this sea salt in a salt grinder, but if you have, you know, just salt that you sprinkle on there with your hands, that's fine too, okay? I'm going to season it with salt. Whenever you are making these recipes that are like soups or casseroles and things like that, where you have layers of opportunity, always season each layer, okay? Now I'm going to put my chili powder on. This chili powder, I'm going to do this pretty generously, to be honest. I want to kind of cover this entire breast on this side and then flip it over and do the same again. And that is because that is where my heat's going to come from. Not so much this black pepper, but this chili powder has ancho chilies in it. Okay, and then here I'm coming with the cumin powder. And last, chili seasoning. Now this is a chili seasoning from Tastefully Simple. Use whichever one you like. If you have a blend that you make up for your chili, by all means, do that too. Okay, and then I just want to flip these over onto the other side and do the same thing. here is the insert to my crock pot. So I'm going to place all of these ingredients in here, and it is a simple, it's what they call a dump and go recipe. I picked this recipe up from a lady on the internet. I believe her name was Mackenzie. I didn't get her last name, but I want to give credit to the recipe, to the person that I got it from. So I'm going to start with my chicken. Just lay it in here. Okay, super simple. The next thing I'm going to put in is the cream cheese. Okay, whenever I see her do this recipe, she just dumps the cream cheese in here. I break it up just a little bit to give it some help spreading out. But cream cheese melts beautifully, so it is definitely going to get everywhere. This is probably an unnecessary step, just me being extra, because that's how I am. Okay, and then I'm going to put in my tomatoes. In this case, I leave the juice on the tomatoes. I do not dump those off. Okay, then my beans. Let's spread that out a little bit. My beans. Okay, then my dry seasoning mix. And, of course, this is the next layer, the next opportunity to get some seasoning in there. So I'm going to, as with every layer of seasoning, I'm going to start with my salt and pepper. Put that in there. The thing about salt and pepper, well, pretty much any seasoning, but certainly with salt, you want to salt generously, but do it carefully. And what I mean by that is put in a little at a time. Then at the end of your cook, you want to taste it and see if it needs more salt. You can always add more salt, but you can't take it out if you have put too much salt in your dish. So season generously, but carefully. This is my chili seasoning. This is my chili powder. And my chili powder is ground chipotles. Or, I'm sorry, that is incorrect. My chili powder is ground ancho chili. Apologies. Okay, so now it's in the crock pot, it's seasoned up, and it is ready to get cooking. Now, you probably have noticed that I still have the corn sitting here. The corn is not added in this first step. This cooks on low for 4 hours. If you cook this corn for 4 hours, it will turn to mush, and it will be a very, very unpleasant texture in your finished dish. So after 4 hours of cooking, I'll come in here, I'll shred the chicken up, and then I will add the corn and probably a little bit of chicken stock just to get a little bit more broth inside of the dish. I have everything in my slow cooker. I've put the lid on. Remember, no locks. I've disengaged the locks, and then I'm just gonna get it started. Mine is pretty simple. I just hit here, program. I want it to be on low for 4 hours. That's the first cook. After this, I will shred the chicken that's in here, and then I'll put it back in. I'll add in the corn, and if it's needed, I will put in some chicken stock just to get a little bit more broth. And then the chili has been cooking for 4 hours. It is not done yet. I'll admit it doesn't look so appetizing right now, but trust me, this is a good recipe. I actually won a chili cook-off with this once. So now, after the 4 hours on low, I'm going to pull the 2 pieces of chicken out and get them shredded and then back into the slow cooker. Then I'm going to add in the corn, and then I'll stir it up and see if it needs any stock. Sometimes there's enough juice off of the ingredients that go in there that I don't need stock, but then sometimes I do. So we will see in just a second. Okay, I have removed the 2 chicken breasts from the slow cooker, and now I'm just going to shred the meat. And I'm going to show you kind of a traditional way of shredding, which is just by taking 2 forks, and you see how easily that comes apart, and you just shred it like that. Okay, that is the traditional shredding method. I also, this tool right here is one of my absolute favorite things in the world. And I just take it and press down and twist a little bit, and it will also shred chicken. Okay? The chicken is back in, and I gave it a little stir. Get it mixed in there. I'm doing that for a couple of reasons. One, I'm trying to get that chicken mixed back in, but I'm also trying to assess how much liquid I've got in there. So here is that 10 ounces of frozen corn that I had earlier. And I put it back in the freezer, so it is still frozen, even 4 hours later. So I'm just gonna work it a little bit to get it out. And I put it back in the freezer. Okay, so let's stir that up. And as you can see, it's probably not a lot of liquid in there. So I am going to give it, I'm gonna start small and just see how it shapes up. But I'm gonna give it maybe half a cup of chicken stock. And let's see if we mix that up. Yeah, that's probably, because I like a thick, chunky chili, whether it be white chili or traditional red chili. I think I like that, just like that. Yep. Okay, so I'm not going to add any more of the stock. That was probably about a 1/4 cup that I just poured in there. So now it is going back on, and it's going to go, I think I'm just going to give this maybe an hour.